Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Marshall at the Wellness Radio TV and at the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Florida continues to make the news for this legislation that we have heard a lot about that has now been signed into law by the governor. Don't Say Gay, the Don't Say Gay bill, which actually says gay. Um, that's one of the issues that we're going to talk about tonight to this very young, with this very young activist. There's so many things that are happening around our country right now. The potential overturning of Roe v. Wade, and we are seeing the Black Lives Matter movement. We're seeing so many young people that are stepping up to the plate, letting their voices be heard. And my guest tonight, Phoenix Prose. He is a junior for another 6 days at Lofton High School.
Yes, ma'am.
Before long, we'll be able to call him a senior.
Oh yeah.
And he decided to take on the challenge of helping his friends, his classmates, his community understand what was happening with this bill, this Don't Say Gay legislation. What a huge task for you to take on, Phoenix. Let me just say thank you for being here. I
Of
appreciate you
course.
being a
I'm
guest.
so glad you invited me. Thank you so much.
And we must say thank you to Takova
Oh my
Beatty,
gosh. Let me tell
who
you, this was one of the first things that he recommended we do was come here.
oh really
Really.
thank you, Dakova. Yeah, I he has spoken so highly of you. You were part of the Gainesville Chamber of Commerce Rethink program. Is that
Yes,
the
ma'am.
full title?
Hmm.
Rethink Fellowship. So, what made you decide? Let me just ask this off the bat. What made you decide to tackle this very controversial issue that Disney has now even weighed in on,
Oh
Hollywood
yeah.
has weighed in on? And what made you think that you could make a difference?
So when I found out about this bill was actually the day of like us signing in and signing up for the Rethink program was the day it got passed. So upon hearing that, my mom like had told me about the bill and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this program to like spread awareness on this because what the bill is doing is removing like any form of like LGBTQ like conversation or like books on the topic um, from primarily like K through third grade. And so from there, I wrote my essay about it, and that's how I got into that program.
So you had to write an essay to
Hmm.
to be selected to be a part of the Gainesville Rethink Fellowship. What did you say in that you feel like was so compelling that they selected you as one of less than 10 young people who are part of this Rethink Fellowship?
I put a lot of emphasis on spreading awareness, and I think that was like a topic that they were fond of because like my project was like we painted the 34th Street wall, and I'm sure we'll get into that. Um, and spreading awareness was like the main part of that essay, with the importance of spreading awareness and having your community be in the know of these things that are happening and who these things will affect. More importantly,
So, as we said before, in about 6 days, you will be officially a senior in high school. So, this legislation, are young people having conversations about these kinds of things that are happening that essentially will have more of an impact on your generation, even than it will us or the
right?
adults who are making the decisions?
It's very strange because around like so after like it had been confirmed that this bill was a thing, immediately there were like walkouts at schools, and I remember our school had a regulated walkout. Um, and after that happened, there was basically little to no talk of it. Um, and I had already started on my project, and it was a little like sad seeing how this this like really big deal was just kind of slowly getting less important, and the eyes of like the people I go to school with, I think.
So you had a walkout. Do you think they were allowing the walkout because they thought, well, let them do the walkout, and then we won't hear from them anymore?
Um, I do because because we had the walkout after it came out that like Buchholz had a walkout. I remember that, and I remember I didn't even know about it. Like it was so like it was 10 minutes long. I remember the people who went there actually ended up telling me it was in our third block period. It was 10 minutes long. Everyone was in regulated lines where they stood out in the courtyard. And after that, we never really heard about it again. And it was a crazy thing because like I said, I didn't even know it happened. I had not even known it happened.
And so, what made that? What about that made you want to do more Phoenix?
I think just like it's almost like eerie how like something so serious could get dropped like that, you know, or just like written off. And obviously, there are a lot of people who are still like activists and taking this very seriously. Um, but to see it like that in the school was very strange, and that's was like my main motivation to like keep going.
And so, what have you done in keeping going?
So, like in terms of like events and stuff,
Right. How have you been getting other people involved? How have you been spreading the word about it? Because it's now law, and some people may say, well, what do you think you can do now, Phoenix?
I think the main thing that everyone can do, obviously, is spread awareness. And the way I went about that was Santa Fe had an event at at their zoo not long ago. Um, it was like about environmental protection, and I held a booth there regarding the topic. We got a bunch of people to sign a poster
Hmm.
um, in protest, and we have that poster printed out now. And then after that was the 34th Street wall painting, where me and a couple of other friends who volunteered, we got some spray paint and some white paint, and we went and did a huge mural of the 34th Street wall, in which we wrote things like "Be an ally" or "Say gay," or and then we wrote the logo, which my girlfriend made for me.
So you just said your girlfriend. I'm sure there are people who are watching who are saying, "Well, is he gay?" You have a girlfriend. Well, to speak to why this is important, regardless to what your preference is when it comes to legislation and people being involved.
It's important that everyone is involved so that we're not isolating a specific group of people, especially over something so like small.
And when you said you participated in the event at Santa Fe College here.
Yes.
What were some of the things that people would say to you when they would come to your booth?
A lot of there it was really scary at first because I was pretty scared there'd be people who weren't a fan. Um and when I got there,
So hold
um
on a second.
mhm,
You were concerned that there would be people who were in favor of the legislation.
yes.
So you were concerned. How were your parents feeling?
My parents were very much in support because my mom is actually the one who gave me or like told me about this originally. And so spreading awareness on it was kind of both of our little projects.
Was she concerned about your safety?
Oh no. I was with Dakova and
Okay.
there were a lot of people there now. I was more worried of just like side comments, you know? Like which did occur. But more often than not there was a lot of support. The poster got many signatures and yeah.
So you are also doing something with the city of Gainesville. Tell us about that.
Oh, so me and Dakova got me involved in getting a proclamation put out to present on June 16th, um, and which discuss with the mayor like the implications of the bill, and we'll establish a lot there.
So you're just going all in.
Yeah.
I mean, going to meet with the mayor, this junior in the high school. I want you to, those who are watching, to see Phoenix and be so encouraged about the generation that we're leaving things to, but also to support young people who are taking a stand, um, regardless to what side they're on, because there is a feeling that young people are not interested. But Phoenix is proof that young people are interested and young people are concerned. Did you have some prepared comebacks, just in case somebody had something negative to say to you,
I
Phoenix?
kind of just my plan, like, no one actually, like, at the booth event, which I assume you're referring to,
Hmm.
um no one really like came up to me and said anything. It was just like the occasional like side eye or like, what's that mean? And I'd explain it to some people, and that was basically what you said. Like, I would just inform.
When you meet with the mayor, have you already prepared what you're going to talk to the mayor about?
Yes, we have a proclamation written out, and that's what I'll read out to all the attendees there.
So now that you have started this journey as a young activist, um, do you like this? Do you think that you would be interested in working on other things, Phoenix?
Um, yeah, for sure. I will say my favorite part about being like a part of this program was just like a huge confidence boost. Like,
Mm.
it made me feel like with the right people, like, really can just like go out and like getting the proclamation, for instance, was so easy. Like, we just submitted something to the website for Gainesville, and now June 16th, that's where we're going.
So, are you talking to other young people about what you're doing and the process that you went through? Are you galvanizing?
I've
What else are
um
you doing?
I've posted a lot about like what I've been doing on my social media, um just to get that little extra bit of like people who see it. Um and I've had a lot of people working with me. Um like, just for the wall painting alone, there were 3 student participants, and then Dakova was there as well.
Who were the other students?
Um one of them was they were so one of them was someone who had already graduated, my friend Gage, and then another was someone who is currently a senior at Lofton in
Hmm.
their art academy. So I invited her, Madison, and then my girlfriend had made the logo, Sailor.
Yeah, Phoenix Probst. He is a young man who has decided to take on the challenge of helping people understand what this legislation means today and what it will mean in the future. Phoenix, to say that you're now going to meet with the mayor, if you had an opportunity to sit with legislators and Governor DeSantis, what would you say to them about this legislation?
Um, like, I think I would try and point out. That's a big question, but I think I would try and point out the like negative aspects of it, because in reality, the negative aspects of this bill far outweigh any positives, if there are any to be found. And I think I would just outline those and like give examples of like multiple students. Because even though this bill primarily affects K through third, the bill has like a very vague nature, and that's dangerous. And also, not to mention, just like it's removing like books and stuff is just like, it's just not right.
So, do you think that through this legislation, um, it's we're putting our head, excuse me, we're putting our heads in the sand as if um, it's not a topic that needs to be. If we don't discuss it, then it doesn't exist.
Are you referring to like discussing the bill?
No, 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 not discussing the bill. What the bill, the intent of the bill, and not talking
Oh,
about um, sexual orientation with K through third.
it's very strange trying to figure out the intention because the only logical thing is that it's just harming the normalization of the LGBTQ plus community and silencing them basically. And there's a common argument about it being like to protect children, but in reality, this is something that should be normal by this point. And you can talk about like straight people and stuff in school, obviously, like and those types of things in books and whatnot. But now all of a sudden, it's an issue with gay people and LGBTQ in general.
So in your research, why do you think that this became an issue here in Florida?
I I wish I knew. I don't through all of the research I've done, I can't figure out what prompted such a reaction. Um because in my eyes this is just blatant silencing of a community.
And have you had people from that community to come to you and say things to you about what you're doing?
Um from the LGBTQ community?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
What are they saying to you?
Um it's so at the zoo, there were a lot of people from the community, and they showed a lot of appreciation, um which I'm grateful for, not to um boast, but um it's been mostly just appreciation.
We have someone that's watching on YouTube, and everybody that's watching on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, thank you very much for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel. If you're watching on Facebook, please like and share. The Don't Say Gay bill will definitely impact me negatively. I would love to hear from you about how you feel like this bill will impact you negatively. And another comment here says, same here. It has already gotten a lesbian teacher fired.
I
Wow.
have read about this.
And seeing stuff like that makes it scary. How can we actually be moving backwards? How scary how we are actually moving backwards. Well, with the Supreme Court discussing rolling back Roe v. Wade, and who knows what will be next. And that's what many other conversations are about. Phoenix, as you're involved in this, how much conversation is there with young people about the significance of their vote and what it really means? Because these things are happening because of people that have been voted into office.
Hmm. It's I think once my generation is like of age to vote, I think things will change significantly because I think through the past couple of years we've learned a lot about what happens when parents or other adults don't put their vote in or whatever, and things like this end up happening with especially with like Roe versus Wade and this and yeah, Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, yeah. Phoenix, I think there still are people, in most of the elections that we have many times, there's such a small percentage of people who are actually voting.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible for your generation, even before you have the legal right to vote, to impact, as you said, parents and other adults, whether you can vote or not? um, how can you help impact that? Or or selecting a candidate that you want to back and perhaps volunteering to help that particular candidate?
Spreading awareness. That is, I think that's the most important thing you can do. Like even at once again the Santa Fe Zoo event that we went to, there were people. They'd come up, they'd ask me questions. I'd tell them what the bill was, and I remember like this one person came up, and they were very surprised, and I remember them talking about how they didn't expect this from that candidate, and I think through spreading awareness is, or even attention in general, like social media or whatever, is going to be the best bet at getting at making change.
When people are, did I lose you there?
Uh-oh.
We're still there?
Mhm.
Okay, okay, good. Phoenix, you know, when we're looking at this legislation that's already been signed into law, and the discussions about Roe v. Wade, and as we just talked about, people not voting, but young people like you expressing concern, um, spreading awareness. How do you change the perception with the adults who are looking at you all and thinking that these kids are just playing video games and watching TikTok? They're not paying attention to what's going on. How do you all make sure that these people know that in 2 or 3 years you will have a right to vote, you will register and vote, and that they need to pay attention to you now?
Mhm.
Because you all have the ability to vote people out of office in a few years. So you could really become a driving force of up and coming voters.
Correct. And I think, like, in terms of those types of adults, like, informing them, like, if you're talking to a brick wall, it's a different thing, but there are adults who are willing to, like, listen and get educated, and um, talking to them about, like, why things like this are harmful and not beneficial, um, is a good way of trying to convince them to start looking around at us.
Well, we have a comment from Timothy. You might know Timothy.
That's my father.
And he says, "We're very proud of you, son. Vote, vote, vote." Timothy, thank you so much for what you and your wife have put into this young man. I was just thinking as he was talking, this is such a moment to be very proud about. Um, you could just be sitting in front of a video game, but you got up from whatever it is that young people are doing at your age and you stepped out and you're taking on this very adult issue that's going to impact you and future generations. So kudos to your parents for what they have done with you and your mom for pointing this out to you to begin with. What made you grab a hold of it? She mentioned the story to you and you just took a hold of it and ran.
It sounded unreal, like just completely like it sounded fake almost, just like act the fact that you can just that it's possible to just completely silence such a not harmful topic, like that's that hit very much hit home, and I think that was like the driving force for the entire project.
So what do you think about what you've done so far?
I think um I think I've made a dent, but I think I'm still going. Um, with the proclamation coming up and this and doing the Santa Fe event and talking to people about it and doing the social media stuff, I think there's still a bit to go, and I'm going to continue until I think I've made a large enough impact.
You think you might be interested enough in this arena that you would ever want to run for office?
Um, I don't know about that. um, Probably not. But things happen.
You just be the power behind the elected officials. And someone said to me once, it's not who gets elected, it's who gets to tell the one who gets elected what to do.
Hmm.
So right now, you as young, up and coming, informed young people and up and coming voters, you have the power to help tell people. Because I think it would just baffle folks
Yeah.
if you all just started showing up in droves at city commission, city council, county commission meetings, and when you find out that the governor is going to be in town, or call and ask for an appointment.
Yeah.
He he works for us. He works for the people. And as they say, we used to say in the country, the noisiest wheel is the one that gets the grease.
I like that.
Do you know what that means?
Like the loudest character is the one who ends up like
Yeah.
making an impact.
Yeah, back in the day they used to have wagons, so whichever
Oh,
wheel was the loudest, that's the one that got the grease. So so Phoenix, let me just say how proud I am of you. You have done a phenomenal job in what you're doing, and you're such an inspiration to other young people. And I pray protection and covering over you as you continue to move forward in being a voice for those who are that this is attempting to silence. And it is silencing of any group is inappropriate in the United States of America, where we live in a democracy. And if we're going to preserve our democracy, we must stand up against things that silence any group. So I really thank you so much for what you're doing.
thank you so much. This has been a great experience.
Yes, sir. Phoenix. We might be seeing, if you see a vote for Phoenix, Probst sign. Make sure you get out and vote, and do everything that you can to encourage the young people in your life. Because just as his mother mentioned it to him, sometimes adults will say, "Well, we would say something, but these children don't listen." How many times have you said something? Don't just write them off by saying they won't listen. Spend time to talk to them and explain. And there I know that there are more Phoenix probes that are out there, and he is helping to uncover them. So thank you again so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you, Dakova, who worked as Phoenix mentor with the Gainesville Chamber of Commerce Rethink Fellowship. And you have done a phenomenal job, and we are going to continue to watch what you're doing and expect more phenomenal things out of you, Phoenix.
Thank you.
We thank you all so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And we will see you next time on At the Wellness Radio TV. I'm Pamela Marshall for the entire crew here. We want to thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is At the Wellness Radio TV and At the Wellness Radio TV podcast. Remember, there is healing at the well. Make it a fantastic moment.